All right. First of all, thank you guys for showing up a little bit early today. Um, I guess first thing I want to say is compliment Coach Viator at ULM's football team and staff. I thought those guys really played hard and competed in the game. They were ready to play. And certainly that was a heck of a football game. But we're excited about this week's opportunity that our team has created. I think, and really that's how I feel about it. I think our staff has done a great job, creating this opportunity, and that's what it is. I think certainly very pleased with the progress that we've made. Are we perfect? No. Are we a finished product? No. But I do think that we're a team that has steadily made improvement. I think we've done a better job utilizing our personnel. I think we're eliminating deficiencies week by week. I'm very pleased with our progress as a program. But this is an opportunity to be a part of a historical game. I want to give Carl Benson credit for the stability that he's provided the league. He's really kind of reorganized and cleaned up the league. I think the divisional format and championship game, I think we all would agree, has been a huge positive. I know, especially here late in the season, so much more on the line, which I think for our football team was a huge positive. So Appalachian State's got a really good football team. You guys know they're first in the league in scoring defense and scoring offense. We played them early in the year at their place. We got to go back up there and play on the road, which is Boone, North Carolina is definitely a formidable place to play. But we're excited about the opportunity and look forward to the challenges that go with playing this team. And I think our team is, excited about playing another game and having another week to prepare and make improvement. And we look forward to Saturday. So with that being said, we'll take a few questions here.
How much progress have you made since the last time that you played them, and in what particular areas the most?
I think we've made biggest areas, I would say, just intangibly. I think we're a much more accountable group, a lot more ownership. I think in general we've seen lots of growth from our players, in terms of the type of culture that we want to have. Guys are really accountable to each other relative to showing up and preparing and be prepared to do their job for the team. I think everybody in the entire organization has gotten better at doing their job. I think that's started to show up, kind of repeating that process each week. And I think our coaching staff's done an outstanding job. I think our players are playing with better effort. We're executing at a higher rate. I think our techniques and fundamentals have improved, and I think we've eliminated some of the deficiencies that we had. We're using our personnel better. But how much better are we relative to Appalachian State? I don't know that, but I think that they're the measuring stick in this league, in my opinion, in terms of how they're put together, how they play together in all three phases, and what type of culture that they do have. So this is a great opportunity for our team, and we look forward to it.
Which position group has made the biggest leap, you think?
I would say just in general on defense, I think we've made drastic improvement. I feel like Saturday was our best performance on defense of the season relative to just the tape, the quality of the tape, the execution level, the plan, the fundamentals and techniques, not only up front but in coverage. I thought we did a good job neutralizing some really good players, But I think we're overachieving a little bit in some of those position groups. But, I think overall all of them probably, you would say, have made steady improvement.
Speaking of Saturday, what was exactly going through your mind as the game was coming to an end and it was basically on that field goal attempt that was going to tell what happened in the game?
Well, really overtime, you're always reviewing the previous series. You're trying to make adjustments within the game. And, in my mind, I'm preparing for overtime, because if they miss it, we win. But you always got to anticipate the next possession and what we're going to do. So, goes back to that defense finding a way to make some critical stops, and make them kick a field goal. You got to give Reese Burns and our punt team some credit for flipping the field there at a critical time. Did that twice, really, once before the half and once at the end of the game, which were critical points and times in the game. So, lots of things to learn from that game, when it comes to having opportunities to really build a lead and get the game under control, we just couldn't quite do it. They kept hanging around, and big play in particular was the interception for a touchdown. You had a 10-point lead there, and all of a sudden you're moving the ball, looking to make it a 3-score game, and then all of a sudden it's a field goal game going into the half. So we've made a huge emphasis on takeaways on defense here. Probably midpoint of the season, we weren't pleased with how many takeaways we had. Daily emphasis between possessions. I mean, just living it, breathing it, talking about it. And I think it's starting to show up a little bit. So the 2 turnovers in the game on the short side of the field by our defense were the 2 biggest plays in the game for sure. And both were great plays and good team defense.
In that last game against App State, was there a moment in the game? I know you and the players have talked about how that game kind of showed that you belonged with the Sun Belt Elite. Was there a moment in that game that stands out to you that proves that, or was it just in its totality?
Just the totality of it, to go in there and put the ball down and play and feel like – because I think the year prior, I'm not exactly sure what happened up there, but it wasn't much of a game. So I think just in general, that was the moment that our players said, hold up, same place, same team. We are a little bit different, and maybe just all these things that we've been doing. They hadn't quite seen a result that goes along with the work at that point in time, So maybe that's where it clicked, we started. Obviously, the big confidence that we built was when we beat Arkansas State at home the next week. So, I think it was that time of the year where they maybe thought, hey, maybe this is working. So,
Having seen film of them against others, how much of their full potential do you think you got the first time you played them, and what's your biggest concern about what you might see from them that maybe you didn't get the first time around? Well,
I mean, obviously, we just played good. We played sound on defense to some degree for a while in the game. I think we turned the ball over, gave them a short field for one of their touchdowns. I think there's a couple of big plays maybe we could eliminate. But just in general, I think offensively we didn't execute very well. They have a lot to do with that now. I mean, don't get me wrong. So, I think they're a lot like us. They've just been kind of moving along here, finding a way to win. They've had some very convincing wins, and certainly Saturday 21-10 against a good Troy team. I think that was a pretty good measurement of where they're at, what type of team they have.
But do you think you got their best shot?
Well, I mean, I don't know that you could say that. They probably don't feel that way, but I don't know how that's relevant to what we're doing now. But we're going to put the ball down and play Saturday and see what happens.
You see the difference in them with Zach Thomas in the game as compared to a couple of games they didn't have him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Zach's a tremendous athlete. I mean, they're definitely a different team. The backup threw 4 interceptions against Georgia Southern and their 1 loss. So, I mean, and certainly against Coastal they were different. So since he's been back, they've been lighting it up pretty good. So he's proved to be an effective passer. We all know what type of athlete he is. They have the ability to use all their weapons when he's in there, and I think he's done a good job this year.
Is there a way to prepare for what? Maybe inclement weather?
I think as much as you can. We're used to moisture around here, right? Humidity, wet. So I don't think that would be as much of a factor as maybe the temperature. We handled it pretty good the last time we were there. Looks like it's going to warm up as we get closer to the game, but that's why football's a great game. They've got a good surface up there, but if it's a little wet, we're used to that. So I think our players will be just fine.
When are you going up there, and how will this week logistically be different than a regular season week?
We actually travel on Thursday because of the early kickoff at the media obligations on Friday. Similar to maybe how other championship games are done. This one just happens to be played at an opponent's site, so the time difference, the travel logistics. So we'll just go up a little bit earlier than we typically would on an away game.
Coach, can you explain from a coach's perspective and an offensive-minded coach's perspective, a lot of people frustrated on the outside looking in, it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, and you're in the new way of doing things when you're, you feel like you gotta get 4 or 5 yards. What are some things about that whole process that maybe people who are frustrated with that don't understand?
I think really that's been one of the strengths of our team this year is how we've done in short yardage situations, outside of a handful of events. I mean, the situation Saturday where we didn't make the 4th and 1 was a total miscue. That was not the intentions of that design. So we were 2 of 3 in the 2 that we called to run, we actually made. And then numerous times throughout the year, we've done a great job in short yardage. It's one of the reasons why we're one of the better teams in the country on 3rd down. But we play under center sometimes, we play in the gun. I think, as you can see, the game has evolved to where we play in the pistol quite a bit, which is my way of playing an old school under center. You still got the opportunities to throw it to the perimeter, but at the same time the back's behind the quarterback. But I think it's just what you do. I think it's just it's not necessarily about what type of plays that you are. It's how well you run them. And we play in the pistol and in the gun, 95% of the game. So I think in critical downs like that, I think that's what we choose to do, and it's been very effective for us.
But not just so much your team. Is it an accurate statement when people say you're turning a 4th and 1 into a 4th and 5 when you're not under center, or is that not accurate?
No, it's not accurate at all. The back gets the ball in the same spot. If you're under center, the ball goes from quarterback to running back at the same position on the field. Actually, the ball gets to the back a little quicker in the gun, which is better. We've done research on this for years, and really, it's all about execution. It doesn't necessarily matter. We can get underneath center and hand off the same play that we do in the pistol. Same concept, it's a different way of doing it. So that statement would be not right, I would say. That's not true.
Coach, what kind of advantage is it that you guys are playing a team that you've already played versus playing someone like Georgia Southern if they would have played it?
I think it's probably equal for both teams. I mean, certainly there's some familiarity there. It's a lot like playing in the NFL where you got a divisional team that you play twice a year. You're going to have to play them again. It's going to be common in this league for the championship game to be a rematch, I think. Similar to the Big 12. Big 12 doesn't have a full allotment. Quite oftentimes you're going to have rematches in these smaller leagues. So I think you'll see this trend going forward as well.
What's the one matchup you think that people might want to watch in Saturday's game, one-on-one or team-wise?
I think special teams are always a huge part of the game. Which specialists can execute at a really high rate, kicker, punter, snapper. And just in general, there's special teams comes down to one-on-one matchups so many times. And a lot of times when you have success on teams, there's lots of one-on-one matchups that are going on. We try to promote those, in our game-changer units. Coach Powell has done a great job. That's one of the areas of our team where I think we've seen consistent improvement. And certainly they've made a difference in the game in the last couple of weeks.
When you got the unsportsmanlike penalty, what explanation did they give you? Because it looked like the receiver on your side asked and he was told he was okay. And then
Right. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. We always send in a handful of plays to the league. I think we were pretty confident that we were in a legal formation. But they're just like me. They make mistakes too, So, I think I was pretty confident that maybe they weren't on the same page, and I just wasn't quite familiar with where I was at on the field. That was, but that's a mistake on my part. That's an undisciplined decision on my part. I've got to be a better example for the players, and probably got to me a little bit there. So, and we were fortunate enough to overcome that. The next play, Andre and Jamarcus made a great play to overcome that. So, didn't affect us. But I promise you, if we don't score there, we end up with a field goal there, I'd be looking back at that as a bad decision on my part.
It seemed like there was a lot of talk or maybe emphasis on getting to this game, but not necessarily talk about winning it. So how do you change the mindset on that? And then leading to that, how important is it for this team to get back to the New Orleans Bowl as opposed to somewhere else?
Well, I think, I mean, there's no question it's been in the back of our mind that, you know, getting a rematch, I mean, against Troy or Appalachian State, you know, we knew that ultimately those two teams were on top on the other side. Both of them beat us by 10 in the regular season, so if we were to win the West, we knew it would be a rematch against either one of those two teams. So I don't think I think this team has developed a certain level of belief here as of late. And we went to Monroe expecting to win last Saturday. You know, I think that the key to the drill here is that we focus on the things that we need to do between now and when the ball's kicked off Saturday. You know, everybody wants to be thinking about Saturday when in reality it's not about Saturday. It's about what we're doing between now and then to get ready to play. So that's going to be critical for us, is that we stay the course, check every box, you know, dot every I, cross every T, not only physically but mentally. And then, hey, we'll have confidence if we prepare the right way, you know, and I think that's what's most important.
The New Orleans part of it, though, I guess that maybe will not be discussed on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a bridge you cross when you get to it. You know, it's a hypothetical scenario. You know, I know if we win, we play there. That's all I can tell you. And if we don't, I think somebody else will decide where we play. So we're going to try to focus on what's in front of our team right now, and that's Appalachian State for a conference championship.
Final questions for Coach, please.
Is there some positive that you do know that somebody else is going to decide that you are going to play somewhere?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, we tried to make it a non-factor last week, but I think everybody would agree it was in the back of their mind. But good thing is we didn't let it distract us, and we focused on the right things last week. So we got to continue to do that.
Where you at health-wise?
We're pretty good. You know, we anticipate the only guy that would be questionable for the game would be Tariq Miller probably. Everybody else survived, and we'll have a couple of guys that are modified, but we anticipate having everybody back outside of Tariq. How much A.J. Riley will be able to play, we'll find out as we get closer to the game. I'll be able to tell you exactly where we're at Wednesday.
Was Calais healthy at the end of it, though?
He was a little bit, you know, he wasn't quite himself. And I'm not exactly sure. I think it was more of a sick deal. You know, he just wasn't quite feeling 100%, not necessarily a physical deal.